upon the righteous be peace, all of them. And we pray Allah's peace and blessings will be upon us all here today, O Muslims. On behalf of the Muslim effort here in Tulsa, led by Imam Faraq Khan, I would like to welcome you all here to the second day of the tribute to leadership and the effort that's being put forth here to build a message here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We pray Allah will give His blessings, His reward to the efforts that are being extended here. And we hope to see a message here established in this city very soon. Indeed, we hope to see messages built throughout the continent of America. Under the leadership of Mohammed, we, the African American Muslim community, have been very instrumental in helping to establish and get built from the ground up messages throughout this country. So we have an intense effort underway on the part of those who see the need, who understand the requirements that we have as a Muslim community to have our own institutions, to have our own schools, to have our own identity. So we welcome these kind of efforts throughout the nation, and we support anytime we have an effort like this throughout anywhere in this nation, we support those kind of efforts. And I really appreciate the comments of the Honorable Mrs. Little last night. 2 points really struck home with me in what she said, and I agree wholeheartedly with them. And that was that we have to concentrate on our youth and also the power of prayer. The first point, that we have to concentrate on our youth. Not only do we, as African American people, have generations, a few generations of our young people who are lost, but also other races in America have generations of their young people who are lost now. And I believe that the way to correct that, because Allah is all forgiving and merciful, all returning to mercy, is in the hope there is in our youth. That's a mercy and a blessing to Allah, from Allah to us, that we should see the great opportunity and the great hope and blessing and mercy that Allah has given us to correct the ills of the society in our youth and make strong effort in concentrating on it. I'm talking about the little 3 and 4, 5 and 6, all the way up. And also the power of prayer. Let us never underestimate the power of prayer and the power of Allah to come to our rescue in times when we need Him most. And we need Allah in our lives now. We need His help. And we also have to work ourselves. We can't just expect that we can just ask and don't do nothing. You know, and this religion is faith and good works. So we have to work ourselves to bring about what we're trying to do. And when we have these kind of efforts like this, I pray to Allah and I believe that Allah will help us in this kind of effort to get a message established here in Tulsa. Again, we'd like to thank you all for your presence here. We'd like to thank Imam Faraq Khan for the effort that he has demonstrated here, and all of you all for the support that you have given here. Thank you very much. At this time, we would like to bring Imam Faraq Khan, who will introduce our leader, Imam Mohammed. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. All praise from good believers. I'm just excited to be able to introduce to you Imam Mohammed. We appreciate, first of all, to Almighty Allah, God of us all, who is called by different names. And we thank Allah that we see here such a cross section of the community. I see here Unitarians, we see Jews, we see Christians, we
see right-minded people. And I would simply say, in introducing Dr. Mohammed, some comments from the three major traditions. First, from the Jewish perspective, in the holy, sacred book called Mishnah by the Jewish community, the question is asked, who is wise? And the answer, the one who learns from all men. From the Bible perspective, the question is asked, how can the people be led unless they have a leader? How can he be a leader unless he be of God? From the Muslim perspective, dear Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam told us, best of you is the one who learns the Quran and then teaches what he has learned to others. Brothers and sisters, dignitaries, I'm honored to be able to present to you Imam Deputy Muhammad. Takbir! Allah! Takbir! Allah! Takbir! Allah!
Assalamu alaikum. Let his peace be unto you. Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Amma ba'd. We witness that there is only one God and that Muhammad is the messenger of God. We pray prayers and peace be on him, on his companions, his descendants, the righteous, all, and on us be peace. First, I have to say that I got more than I expected last night from attending the appreciation fundraising affair for the Tulsa community here from Masjid. I didn't expect that there would be as many honorees and as many most worthy honorees as there were, and I didn't expect that I would hear words of strength, of encouragement coming from a lady 90 years old or more, I think 94, Miss Mabel Little. I was really moved very deeply by her words, as obviously was each of us who attended and heard her words last night. We'll be talking on the practical application of the teachings of this religion, the sources for us being Quran and the life as lived by the Prophet himself, Muhammad, on him be the prayers and the peace. But before going into the address, I want to bring something to your attention from, because I share the concern that's expressed here in a book that was with Miss Mabel Little. This book is by her, and when I learned that she had books with her, that she had herself written, I asked my daughter, Hafiz, wife, and my assistant also in the Secretary's Department of the Muslim American Community Assistance Fund, Sister Bakir. I asked her to be sure and get me one of those books. So we waited patiently until Bakir could get the attention of Miss Mabel Little and purchase one of these books for me. I told her I would give her the money, but she never told me the price. Did she purchase the book? Yeah. So the price wasn't too much? Okay. All right, thank you. I'm going to ask the office to buy it if it was too much. She mentions in here respect she has for Booker T. Washington. I don't know how many of us are still aware, or how many of us have been informed of the life, the principles and beliefs of Booker T. Washington. For the sake of feeling comfortable with you, as I mentioned him, he was one of the two personalities, in the opinion of most of African American informed people and leaders, who represented the concern of the movement of the African American people during the history of our struggle from slavery. And many of the statements that we use as black nationalists, as black Muslims, and I'm quoting the press now, that's not our terminology. We just call ourselves Muslims, or followers of the, followers of the Nation of Islam. But the two people who influenced the movement and its direction, perhaps more than any other back there at that time, even till now maybe, Booker T. Washington and Du Bois. Du Bois was the first one who started the NAACP, first one to start the NAACP. And later it became the organization that we know right now, that we know of. And Du Bois was described as a black African-American intellectual. He's well-educated, Dr. Du Bois. Booker T. Washington was with education too. Found, in fact, the Tuskegee Institute, I think, was his work, his achievement. He was there too, but he put emphasis on the common ability of the people and what they had achieved so far, in slavery and after slavery, and that he emphasized that we should start right there with what we already have and build on that. And as a result, he got a following, he got many followers. And he was more patient with the white establishment. I wouldn't say more patient, he was more patient, but I see him as being a man of wisdom. I think he was wiser in dealing with the establishment than Du Bois and many others. Not to put Du Bois down. Both were very necessary in my opinion. The intellectual view and direction, and also Booker T. Washington's view and direction for the person with their common abilities and whatever professional skills they had learned, like taking care of the white man. So if you can take care of the white man, then use that to make money, open a business. I think that makes good sense. If you could cook for him, you can cook for the public. If you could do his wife's hair, you can do hair for the public. So that was Booker T. Washington's part of his philosophy, and I have a lot of respect for that. This is Mabel Little, and she says that I believe more than ever today that Booker T. had what the black race needs. And I just thought that I should bring that to your attention. That a woman that spoke to us last night, special woman, very special woman, obviously a strong believer in God. God has been her source of strength all her life till now. And a kind of a preacher for God, because she didn't just acknowledge God, she asked us to really accept that God too, you see. So I have a lot of respect for her, and I thought I would bring that to your attention so you would understand me better. I want to begin with focus on the role of concepts in shaping our lives, the role of concepts in shaping our lives. And We don't have time to teach Arabic. Not on this trip. And that's not the purpose. This is a public meeting. We should understand what we're participating in. We call this a public address, and I mean it to be a public address. You know, if there's nothing but Muslims, 100% Muslims there, well, that's what we will address, that's what we will deal with. But every time we say a public address, I'm speaking for myself personally, I intend that it be a public address. And I would be happy to see the majority here being members of the public. I would be happy to see that. I want to see all the Muslims, but I also want to see the public. Why? Because I have made an obligation to learn about this Christian public. And I know because of me having a sincere desire to learn about the Christian public of America, I have a better respect for Christian individuals. I have a better appreciation for the Christian citizens of this country. And I have a twofold purpose in bringing them understanding of us. One is in hopes that they will see the beauty and value of this religion. And if they're in something of less value to them, they will select this one. And at least, if they don't select it, at least try it. See, our religion is a religion that you don't have to accept right away. You can try it. Our religion permits you to try living the life of a Muslim. And when you're ready to become a Muslim, then you say, I bear witness that there is but one God. I bear witness that Mohammed is his messenger. This religion allows you to try it out. Many people were invited to investigate this religion by the Prophet. He invited them to investigate it, to study it. He didn't just tell them, accept it. He invited them to investigate it, to study it, to compare it with what they had, with what they received from their forefathers. So he invited them to look into the religion, to study the religion, and to get acquainted with it, to even try it. What do I mean by that? Try praying to Allah. Learn how we pray to Allah. You try praying to Allah. You don't have to make a confession before you pray to Allah. There's nothing in the Quran that says that. You don't have to make a confession before you behave like Muslims. If you want to try Muslim behavior, try it. When you convince you like it, then take the testimony and bear witness, and become officially or formally declared Muslim. You know, this is not. So we speaking on it all now. No, top people in this religion, top scholars in this religion will tell you the same thing. Yes, so we want to look at certain concepts. The concept of man, we find in the Quran, the origin of man, the beginning of man. A definition for man comes with the concept that is in the Quran. And also the prophet's beginning, the beginning of his prophethood, tells us something about the prophet himself too, gives us a concept of the prophet. The prophet, peace be upon him, he received 5 verses from God. The first of the verses that he had received from God, his revelation, said, read, R-E-A-D, read. And he was not a lettered person. He was not the one who was taught reading. So he replied, I'm not unable to read. I'm not a person who has to talk reading. And the order came the second time. And it is said that it came a third time. And he began to recite what God revealed to him. Read. Read in the name of your Lord who created. Created the human being, a man, from a small congealed clot of blood. In Allah, it's a clot. And we understand that to be a clot of blood, or the beginning of life, the blood in the womb. There's read, again, read. And your Lord is most generous. And your Lord is most generous. Who taught man to use the pen. beginning of our prophethood, and a definition of what the prophet is. The prophet is a teacher. The prophet is one educated by God to teach others. Prophet Mohammed, the teacher, educated by God to teach the multitudes. In fact, the whole humanity, if they would respond to him. And when it comes to the beginning of man in the Quran, Allah says the first man that we understand to be the first man, the man we understand to be the first man, Adam, on him be peace. He said that he told the angels first, God informed the angels that he was going to create a human being, a man. And they became disturbed. This is the Quranic version. They became disturbed that God was going to create a creature that would exercise free will, whereas the angels do not exercise free will. This is the concept of angels in Islam. They don't exercise free will. They obey without any free will to disobey. They just obey the orders of God. So they were disturbed by that, and they asked about the possibilities, the frightening possibilities. There's going to be killing, bloodshed, etc. And as the report goes, the revelation goes, God told them that he was the knower, not them. And the angels submitted. They said, we have no knowledge except what you've given to us. That was the angel's reply. And we know the beginning of the creation of man is also the beginning of Satan. Because the angel who was the archangel in charge of the angels, the leader of the angels, he was different. He was capable of free will. He was capable of free will. And he opposed God's plan. And God said, wait until I have breathed into him of my spirit. Then make submission to him. The idea we get is that the concept of man in just the ordinary human form and with ordinary human capacity will frighten people if you give that public that kind of public authority, free will and authority. But God is saying you shouldn't fear if that particular creature that you're now fearing accepts my will, my spirit into him, and live for my will and for my purpose. So this is the authority upon which God made his plan and made his decision. It is that the man of free will, being my creation, he will in time choose me. He will choose me. He will choose my will and my purpose, and you will have to accept it. Because God is going to back him up. God is going to back him up. That's the way you understand that. But getting closer down to what I want to bring to your attention, God, to show the angels his judgment, he said to Adam, he said, Adam, tell them their names. Now Adam was seen as a trouble, as a creature that was going to make a lot of problems because he shouldn't be trusted with free will. He didn't have the ability, capacity for that. So God approved something that they didn't know. He said, Adam, tell them their names. And Adam told them their names. Which says a lot. Which says a lot. That we are not going to discuss at this meeting. Let it suffice to say that God created the human being with something that puts the human being in a situation above the that the human being is above the angels, you know, in the complete sense, no. But because of the certain thing that God gave the human creation is situated to be above the angels, at least in one respect. At least in one respect. So I find that very comforting. You know, I don't like to think that I am created to sin. And I don't like to think that I have to become an angel in order to be perfect. I would like to think that I can become a good human being and make a mistake tonight and still be perfect. I'm a perfect human being. A perfect human being does not mean that I'm an angel. It means that I'm a perfect human being. And a perfect human being is a well-meaning person that will repent for wrong. That's a perfect human being. A well-meaning person that will repent for the wrong that he or she does. That's a human being. That's a perfect human being. And that's as perfect as I want to be. Our religion requires that we have respect for God, real regard for concepts. And that with this regard, or as this regard grows in us, also we will begin to realize improved perception. Improved perception. Definition is very important for us in this religion. It is not enough to just say I'm human and not know the definition. Muslims are supposed to live a conscious life. Everything we do, we should want to do it with a conscience. We should want to do it with an awareness of what we're doing. Being more clear, we should want to have knowledge of what we're doing. We're not to do things without knowledge. The prophet, peace and blessing be on him, he says, do not pursue things for which you have no knowledge base. You have no knowledge base, and he tells us don't even pursue that. You have no knowledge base for it. What is he referring to? Spookism. Superstitions that have no grounds, no basis, you know? Fantasy that has no grounds, no basis in reality. You know, I was making a talk once and people thought I was against fiction. And I'm one. In fact, it's hard to find anybody that's more a lover of fiction than I am. I really go for fiction. But if I see fiction ain't got no roots in reality, I'm through with it. I only appreciate fiction because it's telling me something that I didn't know about reality. Now, if it can't do that for me, I don't want any fiction. Yeah. Now, let me complete this. Try to complete this part of the perception. I heard a discussion on television, education TV, and one person participating in the discussion said, perception is the function of all senses working together. And I thought that was the best definition of perception I had ever heard. We think of perception, perceiving with the eyes, seeing with the eyes, and most of us think of perception as understanding. But when you really think serious about what is involved in making it possible for us to understand any particular thing, it's not just seeing with the physical eye. As that person said, there's a combination of senses working together to make it possible for us to understand or to really perceive correctly. The time that we live in today, the time of the society, the problem for society today, is what I'm referring to, makes it very difficult for us to have good perception. We're not even perceiving the members of the family correctly, most of us. We look at our brother and sister in the family, we're not receiving them correctly. We're not receiving the child, the baby that's dependent on us in the household, in the room. Or the mother, or the parent, or the father, both the parents. We're not receiving each other correctly. I'm not saying everybody, but this is for the majority of us, and for the majority of our households, we're not receiving the members of our family correctly. The nature of the influences in the media and in the society, especially in the streets and common conversation of the people, is such that we are hearing things that's coming from people with no roots, with no real roots. They have no real roots in religion, no real roots in education. We go to school and we learn something just to pass and get a diploma. We're not really having any real roots. We're not there because we believe that something is there that our life needs. We're there because we believe there's something there that our career needs. You know? And it's a big difference between this world now that I'm seeing and the world that I was a child in. The world that I was a child in was greatly different. Greatly different. We had the extremes, we had the bad people, but they weren't the majority. It was different. I'm going to say that in order to see something, or perceive something, or define something, understand what we see, perceive what we're looking at, or what's around us, we have to begin with circumstances. Circumstances. What are the circumstances for us really being able to see and understand? Are they good or bad? And we have to look also at the condition of the person, individual. What is the condition, that person's condition? It's part of the circumstance. What is the condition of that person? Have they been cared for? Are they in their good mind? Have good sense been passed on to that person? We have to look at the condition of the person. Has that person been mistreated so much that that person can't respond really to good sense? That person can only respond to hurt, to suffering. So we have to look at the condition of the person too. Then now look this. I'm showing you what I believe to be steps toward perception. And then we have to look at interest. Interest will be decided by circumstances. You know, when we were slaves, and our freedom was restricted to going to bed in a little mud hut or something, and rising up before the sun and going to the field and plowing, working in the field for the master, and then returning to the bed. They were awakened in the morning, put into the field of work. When they got through working, go to bed and sleep because the master wants you up before sun. So that was the life of many slaves, not all slaves. Some slaves had different masters who had different circumstances. And they had other circumstances for their slaves. But for the great majority of the slaves, that was their life. What interest could that slave have? What interest could that slave have? The master driving his whole life from sun up to sundown. The master deciding his whole life, 24 hours a day. What interest could he have? So he lived his life under fear of the master and just answering the duties of the calls of the master. He had no opportunity to have an interest. But you know the human being soul, the soul that God made is so marvelous that in spite of circumstances like that, the soul can, while working in hardship, working in the field and suffering all that, the soul can take wings and fly from that situation. But if we are looking from the outside, we can't work with that factor. We can't work with that factor. You know, we can't say, well, you know, the nature of the soul, so I'm sure I've been in those places. They were really not there working in the field. Most of them were working in that field. and they were thinking, when is this going to be over? I want to go to bed. I want to eat. You know, let them eat and sleep. That was about it. And then the weekend, Sunday was off. The master believed in Christianity, so he would let them off on Sunday, and Sunday was their day. And they would, most of them followed the master's religion because they didn't have any other religion. So they would learn from the master how he worshiped, and they'd try to practice his religion. Now, I'm not saying this to offend each other. Say, well, that's how we got Christianity. That's not how you got it. You haven't, a lot of you all don't have it yet. You're not getting Christianity. I'm speaking of the people now, not this audience. I'm speaking of the public. Yeah. And that's what you have to understand too. When I'm addressing the audience, I'm not talking to the limited number there. In fact, I include you in my delivery. You know, we're delivering this. Because I look at you and I get even indications of what I should say sometimes. I forget about the script, you know. So we're delivering this. And we talk to each other too. But the real audience is the big audience. And when they finish, they're going to take my tape and send it to me or give it to me. And I'm going to have it transcribed. It's going on the air, the radio. We don't have much radio coverage, but little we have. It's going on the radio. And it will be in our journal. And perhaps it'll fall in other places too. Sometimes I pick up other publications and read something I've said to these audiences. So I'm aware of the bigger audience, and I hope to reach that big audience as much as possible. So we don't expect for a person to have good human interest if the circumstances are designed to kill or to not commit that kind of interest. And then after interest, then we start to consider thinking. Say, oh, hey man, can't you think? Maybe you can. The ability to think needs circumstances. We need certain circumstances for the ability to even think. That's think correctly. Thinking in a certain way, or in a definite way. We need a certain set of circumstances in order to have that freedom to think in a certain way. The angels couldn't think. God created Adam and exposed him to things, and he was able to think. God created him and then exposed him to things. Without being exposed to something, you're not going to think. If you think, your thinking is oppressed. Your thinking is limited. Your thinking is oppressed. Yes. And then after thinking comes opinion. Opinion. And this is where most of us are, I hope. We're in a state where we entertain opinions and express opinions. I say I hope most of us are there. Because I've met too many who weren't even there. Next, after opinion, attitudes. When you form an opinion, an attitude is going to automatically form behind an opinion. If you have a certain opinion of me, that's going to make you have a certain attitude towards me. And many people think that I'm the one that came and sold all the properties of the Nation of Islam, got rid of all the wealth and everything. If I did, where is it? It's not with me. Well, where is it? I'd be a fool to get rid of all the wealth and I didn't get a part of it. If I was low down enough to take the wealth, I should have some of it. So the opinion, has to come before attitude. You have an opinion and then there's an attitude. And then after attitudes, you're going to have habits. Habits are going to form after attitudes. Now, you say, well, what good is this for this talk? I thought you were going to teach us the practical application of the teachings of the Quran and the life of the Prophet. That's exactly what I'm giving you. I'm not coming up with my ideas. I extracted this from the Quran and from the life of the Prophet. And you'll find that what I'm giving you is universal. And the Prophet said, I didn't come to give you some new, fabricated teaching. prophet himself established that what he came to give was not any new fabricated ideas. He came to give them what God had established in his plan, the universal truth. But to complete it, to complete God's favor on humanity, to bring us more of that and to complete it for us. So if you find it to be just common knowledge, well, that's the beauty of our religion. Common knowledge. Believing. The beauty of our religion, Islam, properly called Islam, is common sense, common knowledge, common human ability, common human affections, common appreciation for things. This is the beauty of our religion. Although it has its appeal to the intellectual, to the person who appreciates the beauty of things, aesthetic person, you know, it has all of the appeals there. But the real value of our religion and the real focus in this religion is on that is appreciated by common people, common individuals. That's the most important thing for us in this religion. Yeah, so after attitudes and habits will form. Now many of us, our behavior is decided by our habits. You have to think about these things. For many of us, our behavior is decided by our habits. We are going to do what we are in the habit of doing. And what we are in the habit of doing is going to dictate our response to something else. That's pitiful. That's a pitiful state of life. That means that the life for that person is no better than the life for a common ordinary animal. Not even as good as the state of many animals. Then for other of us, going back, our behavior is decided by our attitudes. Our attitudes decide how we're going to behave. How we're going to treat what's being presented to us. How we're going to treat our obligations. It's going to be decided by our attitudes. That again is a very, very bad state of affairs. And for others, opinion. Our opinion is going to decide how we're going to behave, how we're going to respond, how we're going to treat whatever is presented to us. Again, that's a bad state of affairs, but it's better than those others. You know? Now, when it comes to opinion, we look at opinion. I'm entitled to my own opinion. Yes, you are. That's right, you are. You're free. You're entitled to your own opinion. That's true. But if you respect yourself, if you value yourself, if you go out to select food, and they have rotten tomatoes and fresh tomatoes, good tomatoes, will you pick rotten tomatoes for dinner, for lunch or dinner, or will you pick the nice good ones? You pick the good ones, won't you? Well, opinions come just the same way. There's rotten. Then there's good, healthy opinions, you know? So we speak of opinions, we say, he has his own opinion. And that doesn't mean very much. He has his own opinion. That's not a compliment. Very seldom that's a compliment. He has his own opinion. And we say, well, he's a man of informed opinion. Now that's a compliment. Informed opinion. That's a compliment. See, we just shouldn't have an opinion, but we should have an opinion that's supported by knowledge. An opinion that is supported by knowledge that's respected. Knowledge that is established. Knowledge that will stand up not only where you're standing, but if you walk down the street and stand up there, if you go across the country to stand up there, you even go out of the country and you stand up there. You see? Established knowledge for your opinion. So an informed opinion is what I believe Americans take pride in. Informed opinion. Our politicians, the best of our politicians, the best of our leaders have worked so that the public will have an informed opinion. An informed opinion is what really counts. So if we can help our brothers and sisters who are just moving on, habit, attitudes, and rotten opinions, we'll be doing a good service. We'll be doing a good service. And I think if we approach it with respect for them, because there's no way for approach any human being without a sense of respect for that human being. Because my religion has educated me regarding the value of every human creature. And I don't care what that human creature has done with himself or herself, or what the world has done to that human creature. I still respect what God created. What God created. And this is the key for getting results, for getting better results from the people that need our help. Respect what God created, although you don't see it when you look at that person. We know God created it, so it's there. You know, I don't like to get into Christian circle of authority because I'm not an authorized preacher for Christianity. But you know, the story that when Jesus was asked to come and give life to someone who had been dead. Now, who in the world would ask somebody to come and help somebody that's dead, physically dead? You know, usually we don't ask nobody to help. If we do ask them to help, once we were sure it's been certain that physical dead. You know, that's the end of asking to help. And that's pray for his soul, you know. But we take them to the graveyard, we bury them, and that's the end of it. Us having a hope for that person in this world, in physical living. But this person had faith that Jesus, peace be upon Jesus, could bring that person back to life. And I think the way the story goes, that this particular poor fellow hadn't been dead too long, you know. So they asked Jesus to help. And when Jesus came and saw him, he says, not dead, just sleep. So that's the way I look at individuals that most of us will give up hope on. Right. I say, no, he's not gone. He's just not present. And I began trying to do it all myself to bring him to show up. I believe that Muslims should be established upon definitions. See, many of us, we say we're Muslim. But do we know the meaning of the term? Are we established in the definition of a Muslim? We say our religion is Islam. Do we know the meaning of it? And it's not enough just to say, yes, I know the meaning of Islam. Islam is a religion of peace, peaceful resignation to the will of God. That's not enough. You have to know the meaning of Islam in the context of the book where that meaning was first given. And the meaning is first given in the Quran, or the Quran as the West calls it. The meaning is first given in the Quran. So you have to read the Quran and see how the term Islam, or al-Islam, appears in the text of the Quran. And when you see how it appears in the text of the Quran, and understand how it appears in that text of the Quran, how God is using the term Islam, or al-Islam, then you will be learning the meaning of Islam. So how is a Muslim going to know the meaning of the Islam if he doesn't read the Quran, if he's not familiar with the Quran? You won't know it. Any Christian can tell you that Islam means peace. But do they know the meaning of Islam? Our life should be established upon definitions. For us, Allah is Lord, but for many other people, God is Lord too. So we have to understand the meaning of Lord for us. The meaning of Lord for us. And I believe that it is the same for other people. But like us, other people too, just grab terms and go along with the surface, or with the expressions, daily expressions, and don't give serious thought to the meaning of what they're actually talking about or saying. So God says to Prophet Mohammed in those five verses that came to him of Revelation, Read in the name of your Lord who created. Your Lord who created. So, and for us, Lord and creation are the one and the same. We don't have the Creator and then the Lord as separate entities or separate identity. No. The Creator and the Lord, one and the same identity for us. We don't have God or Allah, one, and then Lord, another, somewhere else, another. No. We have Allah, Creator, the Lord, same. Same exactly. Same exactly. So the Lord for us is the Creator. Read in the name of your Lord who created. Created man from a clot. Allah, min Allah, from the Allah, clot. Read, and your Lord is most generous. Now, Imam Qasim Ahmed, he really, I thought, did an excellent job as a keynote speaker last night. And if someone wants to all this, they better do something like that. I'm going to be nice to you and wait. And send your contribution to Mecca Fund. Post Office Box 1061. Calumet City, Illinois. 60409. Yes. So, yes. So the verse is saying to the prophet, read in the name of your Lord, who created. Created the Lord. Created is the Lord. Who created. Created man from a plot, Jill blood. Now, if you heard, it would help if you heard his Imam Qasim's address last night. It would help because he went into some things that I'm not going to go into now to show the evolution of the step-by-step process from water, then blood, the clot, and the fetus, all up. The Quran gives this so beautifully, and he mentioned it. He gave it last night, very, very entertaining and beautiful way, and a profound way. So we understand this to be referring to the physical creation. Our life, as it begins with the physical creation. When we are born with flesh body of ours, this physical body, then for us life starts. You know, there was no W.D. Muhammad or Palestine before this came. Now, some spooky people, they would say, yes, it was. But I stopped right there. That's as far as I can't go right back as far as that. That's for me personally, you know. That's where it started. It started right with this. And when this goes into the ground, that's the end of our history, you know. Here in this world, that's the end of my history. They put this in the ground, that's the end of my history. Now, what's going to happen after that? That's with God. And I have faith in that. But I don't know anything about this. I start right here. That's the end of my life. I'm just telling the truth. That's the end of my life. If you don't believe it, I said I have faith. That'd be going on faith. Beyond the grave, I'm going on faith. And back at the grave. I'm just going on faith, you know. I hope everything will be all right. I'm going to trust in God all the way. My knowledge is limited to this. My knowledge is limited to this. My mother was carrying me, I guess, 9 months before October 30th, 1933. But when they gave me the birth certificate, it was from October 30th, 1933. That's where the history started. And when they signed that thing saying he was officially dead, that'll be the end of it, you see. That'll be the end. I'm trying my best to make the best of my life between those two major events. Yes, so we have here the creation of man, beginning with this physical body. And also the creation of man, beginning with something else. Read in the name of your Lord who created man from a clot. Read, and your Lord is most generous, who taught man. Who taught man. So here we have to understand that, we have to understand that there are two major occurrences that are necessary for human existence if it is to be real. And these are the physical birth and the learning process. But isn't that what we are taught in higher education? We are taught that in higher education. That the child or the human person is formed in an environment that permits it to learn. And if it doesn't learn, it will not come to be a true human person. We have evidence to back this up. There is the story of the wild boy, documented by a student of anthropology. The story of the wild boy who somehow was left by parents among animals and survived miraculously to live in an environment with animals. When they discovered this boy was behaving in every respect like an animal. This boy ran and moved about like an animal. This boy made noises with his mouth like an animal. But they saved the boy from that environment, brought him into a human environment, and he gradually began to learn how to speak, and he became a human being. He said, what God tells us in the Quran, the world of science and knowledge has already documented that is a fact. And this is not just said in our religion. If you understand other religions, many religions say the very same thing, but we just say it in different ways. Now, if we don't keep our awareness, at least those who want to help others, and I believe Muslims accept that we are our brother's keeper. Prophet Mohammed says, help your brother even if he's the one doing the wrong. So we don't give up on him even if he's the one leading the wrongdoing. The question was asked, the prophet, praise and peace be on him, we understand that we're supposed to help him, but how do we help him when he's doing wrong? And the prophet said, help him by holding him back from wrongdoing. That's our obligation. We have a moral obligation. Now, it follows, then, that this revelation in the Quran establishes that in as much as a definition and a definite order of events have to come into place to give us, or the world, a physical delivery of a human person. It just doesn't happen any kind of way. It's not an accident that we come into this world a human physical person. Certain things have to take place. You have to have a male and a female come together. And then the womb has to be impregnated. And the two lives have to mix there. And the germ has to grow of the mother and of the father and go through definite stages that Imam Qasim described so beautifully and so entertaining last night in order for a physical whole baby to be delivered from the womb. So God is saying to us, as I understand, just as definite circumstances have to exist in order for that physical birth to come and be realized, likewise, a definite set of circumstances have to exist for us to come into the real human person, the person with awareness and a human ability in it. You're not going to come into that fruition, that blossoming of that physical into a human person, a healthy, beautiful human person, without certain things taking place in a definite order, and in a definite progression. And I may say then that for this human physical body, we need a human state a hammer. Free will, we can come into the form of a pistol. And that's what we are. We're just a walking pistol. We don't do anything but shoot people. You know? So we have the free will not to only become animate creatures, and you know, we say, oh, he ain't nothing but an animal. That's some kind of compliment. Depending on who you're talking about. and some of us, oh, he just said, nothing but a vegetable. Again, that's a great compliment to some people. You know? In our world, you know, thank God he's not a pistol. Rapid firing one. Indiscriminately firing one. There's also a third requirement. Not just the physical and learning has to come, but learning has also a requirement, according to these 5 verses that came in the first revelation to our prophet. And that requirement is generosity. Generosity. Now, that's the problem for the world. The world is just not generous enough with its knowledge. If the world was generous enough with its knowledge, we wouldn't have the burden on the establishment and the burden on the public that we have. The burden on the poor, the burden on the rich, the burden on the establishment, the burden on the public would be greatly, much less a burden. It would be greatly removed if we had this generosity. Generosity. And again, I say I'm stepping out of my territory when I use a Christian. But Jesus said, if your child, the child, asks for bread, would you give it a stone? That's cruel. That's cruel. Now, for the men in the religion, the pastors and preachers and the learned people in Christianity, they understand what you're talking about, what that is, you know. And they have no more about it than I do, because I'm not a Christian preacher. They understand that Jesus didn't mean. He meant it all right, but it also has a connection with something else. He didn't mean that baby asked for bread, you know, white rye or white or something like that. Rye or white bread or something. And instead of you putting that in the mouth, you went and got a stone and put it in the baby's mouth. He didn't mean that, but he wants to show you the cruelty. That the child is asking for something that can be digested, something that tastes nice, something that is the suit that is made for, something that will go into the body and give it strength, take away hunger, give the body strength, and make a contribution to the well-being and development of the body. The baby is asking for something like that. And you go give it something that's hard on his mouth, doesn't taste good, will break up his teeth, tearing gums, and if it goes down, it hurts going down and everything, and it hurts even coming out. Depends on how large it is. Right? So you give him something that's just bad on the whole system. Bad going in, bad bottles in, bad going out, you know. And then he's asking for something that's good going in, good bottles in, and good going out. Yeah. So the trouble is we're just not generous enough. We're not generous enough. And when you go to school and they start bombarding your mind with a lot of stuff you don't understand, that's giving you stone. They're not giving you bread. They're giving you stone. They're giving you something that you don't understand, something you can't appreciate, something you're not excited about, something that won't take away your hunger, something that goes in bad and comes out bad. You know. So that's like giving you stone. So that third requirement is that we be generous with knowledge. And to be generous with it is to give knowledge that will help others get in your good situation. You know? And to do that, you have to take the risk that others that you are helping may rise above you. Now, you know, God has put it into our nature to want to see newcomers succeed us. Okay. The father and the mother, they don't want that child to stop where they are. They want that child to excel. even there. They want that child to go further than they went. They want that child to grow up so they look up to that child. Right?
That's right.
You see how God has given us what we need to succeed in the society? Now, if we would accept that same good excellence that God gave us for the family, He also gave us for the public, for society at large, then we will be in a good situation. Why should I not give freely to your son and your daughter in the institute where I work, or in the elementary school wherever it is, or in the factory, wherever it is, or in the science department, or the government, wherever it is? Why don't I have that same love, that same excellence in me that God has given the parent? No matter whether that child is related to me by blood or not. Now, don't you know when we treat people not related to us by blood different, we're still on the level of a savage? I mean a real savage. What we call savage is not all the time savage. There are a lot of primitive societies that are much more civilized than we are in New York City, Chicago, Los Angeles, and even Tulsa. Much more civilized. So I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I'm talking about the person who is humanly deformed in his behavior, who is wild and destructive and don't appreciate values, etc., things of value, etc. That's the kind of person I'm talking about when I say savage. Now, when we don't think that we should treat outsiders the way God has established for us to treat our own sons and daughters, I say we are still far from being evolved as civilized people. We're supposed to feel the same. And God is my witness. I'm not here to make you look at me. I don't want you to look at me. I don't. I don't want you to look at me for my sins. I don't want you to look at me for my grace. That's not important to look at me. It's not important for me to look at you. It's important for us to look at what helps us all and what hurts us all. That's what's important. Yes. So, speaking to you and being very honest and sincere and truthful to you, God is my witness. I do not treat other people's children different than I treat my own. I don't. When I have somebody else's child, I will give them the advice I give my own children. If I have something to offer them, what I won't give to my children, I won't give to them. I won't. If I don't think this sandwich is fit for my child, I won't offer it to your child. I won't. I want your child to have the best for my hand, just as I want my child to have the best for my hand. This is me. And I'm not the only one. There are many people like that. But there are too many that's not like that. If we were like that, we wouldn't have the problem in society that we have. Because knowledge would be given in a generous way. We would be generous with our knowledge. Knowledge is the best help you can give people in need. Knowledge. Now we know sometimes you have to respond to the physical. Because can you, the baby that's just born, can we give it education? We can give it an environment for learning. But we can't start with the first grade or even with preschool. The baby is just infant, the baby is just here. So what you do is attend the baby's needs, right? You attend that baby's needs. The baby wants food, give it. The baby wants water, give it. Whatever. The baby wants to be clean, clean the baby. The baby is uncomfortable, something's hard up under the baby, the blanket done got wrinkles in it or something, and the baby's not comfortable. You go and smooth it out, make it smooth and under there, so the baby be comfortable. The baby rests very comfortably. So you just take care of the baby's needs. The baby is cold, you put a little blanket on. It's too hot, you start taking some of the clothes off. You attend the baby's needs. Now, many of us in this society, grown-ups, we're just like that baby in that situation. All we want is somebody to tend our needs. We ain't ready to learn nothing. We ain't ready to crawl. We ain't ready to stand on our own feet. We just ready to have nothing for somebody to tend our needs. It's too hot. And we don't even explain why it's too hot. You know, we're just like the baby. It's too hot. You know. Well, hell, don't you know what's wrong? Open the window. Or turn the air conditioner on, you know. Hell, take this coat off me. Yes, oh yeah, I'm not joking. Some state to come that makes us comfortable with ourselves and feel good, alone with ourselves, we have to have knowledge, proper knowledge, and have to have an establishment of people who will not be stingy with it, or selfish with it, or hold us back by not giving us what they know that they have, for fear that our situation may become equal with theirs or surpass theirs. You see, that we have to get rid of that, and Allah requires of us that we get rid of that we give proper knowledge and give it generously. Now I'm coming to another concept. That's mainly what we're addressing now is concept. Allah says, and also in our Holy Book, says, is there enough for God, the creation, and also the command? Now most of us, we acknowledge that God is the creator. But if God is the creator, if this creation belongs to God, then God created us too. Then my creation belongs to God. This is God's. God did this, God's creation. How many of us are willing to think of God as owner before we think of ourselves as owner? You know, this is my body. But where did you get it? You got it. God created it for you. God created it. And all the possibilities that you have are limited to creation. That's another thing. This is religion. But this should really dawn on us. All the possibilities we have are limited to creation. You don't have any abilities outside of creation. So no matter what you're doing that you like to be proud of, or like you feel so special about, you couldn't do it without your creation. Allah made it possible, whatever you want to call God, made it possible for you when He created everything. And you have no possibilities beyond creation. Though I have my own imagination, try to imagine anything without creation. Just try it. You'll go insane. Your insanity will also be a product of creation. So you have nothing outside creation. Allah is the creator of everything. Yes. Oh, so we give all this credit to man. Man is our great benefactor. He couldn't create a thing without God. He can't make or create a thing without God. He can't imagine anything without God giving him something to work with. Fantasy ain't nothing but a distortion of what God created. You know, we let the kids play with the ABC box, put them in there every day all you want. They go A, B, C, D, F, G, all the way down to the end, to Z. But we give the blocks to the baby, and the baby can play with them, put them in there all they want. The baby can come up with B, C, D. And they say, I never saw that word before there. Well, the blocks did it. You couldn't do it without the blocks. So I want to emphasize here the Muslim concept of ownership. We don't believe that we are the absolute owners of anything. Only Allah is the absolute owner. And peace, great peace comes when you accept that. When you think that you own your children, you're in trouble. Because when they start to torture you, all that burden on you. My child. See, me, when they start to torture me, I say, yeah, that child is from me, all right. From my Lord. I ain't gonna be that. You know, I start saying that you can less that language out. You know, that my child. I start saying, yeah, that child is from me, from my Lord. I don't know what else is my Lord. Whatever's there, I didn't put it there. My Lord is what I was created. That ain't mine. That's mine as long as it was following me. Now that's somebody else's there. Taking things down the street. Yeah, so the possibilities for him are so many. So he can become anything. And when he becomes what you don't want to acknowledge, you're in trouble. If you say that I'm the owner, that's my child, Yeah, no, that's nice to say that. I say that too. That's my child. Believe me, I love all my children. Very, very dearly, very deeply. I love it. And I like to say my child too, my son, my daughter. I love to say that. But when I say that, I'm aware that my possession of them is after Allah's possession. They belong to Him first, then to me. To God first, and then to me. You know, when you think like that, you're in a much better situation to survive in this world. You may have a thriving business, my business. But who made it possible? You lose the business, you go insane. My business. But if you say, God gives and God takes away, I'm giving you the Christian life. God gives and God takes away. Isn't that a better way to live with this reality? Yeah, that's a better way to live with reality. Not that you're going to neglect it. No, you're going to care more about it. What is the philosophy? What is the logic there? Look, if you believe that God is the highest reality, and then you believe that that highest reality is your partner in success, aren't you going to respect that partner in your success more than you respect this ordinary Joe Blow? I know I do. I see Allah as my partner in my success. So I respect Allah in my life as my partner much more than I respect Johnny Go Blow or something. Yeah. That makes me more conscientious. That makes me work more hard and more diligently. That makes me work more to secure what I'm blessed with. Because Allah is my partner in this. I didn't do this alone. Allah is my partner in this. I believe that accounts even for my respect for my car. One young fella, I'm not going to tell him. I let him have my car. He had it for almost 2 years. Yes, he did. And he's a good driver. Believe me, he's a good driver. But he got tired of it, and he wanted a new car. I guess he doesn't have the same kind of relationship I have with the superior partner. You know, I love him. So he's gonna show me now that he doesn't accept anymore this car. He wants a new car. So he starts to neglect that car, all right? So when I got it back, it was in bad shape. So I got it back and I put it back in good shape. So I ride around him with it now, and he's jealous. I got it in good shape. It's in very good shape again. And I believe the reason why I care for my things like that is because I'm aware always of Allah as the superior, as the authority in my life, as the cause behind whatever is happening. Yes, I recognize that and appreciate that, and I believe that makes me respect everything much more better. So what I'm saying is that the most productive force in our life is the sensible regard for the Creator, the Lord Creator who has power and authority over all things. Now, with ownership comes authority. You know, say, well, who has ownership? The one who has ownership has authority. Now, a lot of us want authority without ownership responsibility. Right? So what are you saying here? This is, you said God is the owner, now you're talking about ownership. Yeah, God is the owner, but God permits us to have temporary ownership. Temporary ownership. It doesn't mean we're an absolute owner. I made it clear when I began talking about ownership that there's an absolute owner, and none of us can be that. The absolute owner. But God allows us to have ownership. Ownership. Ownership means that this is in your care. This is subject to you, and is left trusted to you. So it's really a trusteeship. A trusteeship, as many learned people in our religion describe it. It's like a trusteeship. But for all practical purposes, you were the owner there. And believe me, you can't go to court and tell when you get in trouble and tell the judge. Say, well, judge, I'm not the owner. You know, the judge said, well, who's the owner there? Allah. If you're in trouble with the law, the judge gonna say, well, okay, we're putting Allah and you in jail. Marshall. Yeah. So, you know, for all practical purposes, we have to accept that we are trusted with ownership, that we are responsible for ownership. And ownership, when you accept ownership, the position, the situation of ownership, condition of ownership, obligation of ownership, that's what I want to say, then you can talk about authority. Now, how do we apply this in a practical way? I'm talking about big things. Small things, I like to talk about them too, but I'm more interested in the big things. To me, nation is a big thing. Citizenship is a big thing. And I know not only the African Americans, but we have a special problem. But most people in America, they have a problem benefiting from the reality of citizenship. Citizenship is a resource. It's a resource for us. Citizenship, a great resource. If you will approach it rightly, understand it rightly, and approach it rightly, and then you can benefit from it. But if you don't, you can't benefit from it. When you don't benefit from it, then you are hurt by it. And the fact of your citizenship is hurting many of you, especially the African American or the black people. We don't like to think of ourselves as citizens of the United States of America.
Right.
Because we are still responding to hurt. Present hurt or past hurt, we are still responding to hurt or denial, disappointment, unfulfilled dreams and expectations. We are still responding to hurt, and we're not responding to positive things. So we see citizenship as something we don't like to think about. And a lot of them don't like me because I speak in an exciting way about American citizenship. I understand the adverse things. I understand the adverse, the bad things. I know the bad past, and I know the adverse circumstances for African American people as citizens of this country. I'm aware of all that. But I believe the greatest adversity we have to face is the adversity of our inability to take what is ours that this country has to offer. Whether you accept it or not, it's yours. Citizenship belongs to us, whether we accept it or not. Now, when we turn it down and don't want it, it's just like us saying this place has equal opportunity that was gotten for us by legislation, but I don't want it. To me, it's the same. If you turn down the benefits of citizenship, it's harder on you, it's worse on you than if you turn down an opportunity to move up in a factory somewhere or in some establishment. To me, it's much worse because the gains there are nothing like the gains you can get if you begin to build upon your citizenship rights. What am I referring to exactly when I say building upon your citizenship rights? If you have U.S. citizenship, then you have protection under the law. If you don't get it locally, you can carry it to a higher court. That's your citizenship rights. If any citizen has the privilege to do anything, and you learn that privilege is there, you have the right to also that privilege. In fact, I don't know any rights or any privilege that a citizen can have that is not open to every other citizen. There are special passports that are given to certain individuals because they qualify. So they are able with this special passport to travel more freely, to go into countries and contact people that average citizen with his average passport can't do. They're able to get certain benefits that the average citizen can't get. But isn't that happening within the citizenship of a city too? Yes, you can move up in a city. And because of you moving up in that city, you get a car that will take you places others can't go. So the same thing for your passport or for your citizenship papers. Same thing. Doesn't mean that that's not open to you. You can, if you have the qualification, you can go the same route that person get and get that special passport. Same thing. And that's the way we should look at it. We have the same rights of citizenship that everybody else has. If a man from Georgia or from Boston can go to communist China and buy their rugs, their carpets, so can we. He can go to Canton to the market there and buy from their market. So can we. If he can go to Kenya, so can we. That's what I want to see us move up to. I want to see us move up to where we will be great support for our great achievers. We have great achievers. We have people going from the black community, from the African American community. I prefer the language African American. Going from the African American community. They going overseas, buying, and coming back here selling. They can't be successful in our neighborhood because we don't have enough worldly sense to appreciate what they're about, to appreciate their service, to appreciate their advancement, and to support them. So we look at them many times and we turn off because they are doing something that makes them tie in with the establishment, and we hate the establishment. So we identify them with the establishment. They're successful, so we identify them with the establishment. The only way you can be comfortable among the losers in our race, and that's the majority. No, I'm not making jokes. It's serious. You have to accept that they want nothing, and they don't know please. So how are we going to correct that? What I'm saying to you established people, are you people who have an appetite for establishment like I do. I'm saying to you, did you hear that? Like I do. I'm saying to you, you can't go very far because of the thinking in the masses of our people. And I think I'm doing a greater service for the liberation of our people when I'm talking this talk that I talk all over this country and outside sometimes than any other person that I know of in the United States. Now, maybe everybody's doing better, I don't know. I think they're missing the mark. When they're telling you be black and proud, they're just talking emotionalism. When they're telling you you're entitled to something, get it, they're just talking emotionalism. But when they address the condition of our people that's denying our achievers the great success that they would have if we supported them, addressing the real psychological issue. We have a psychological issue. Slavery set us back psychologically. Oppression after slavery set us back psychologically. The notions and ideas that we have accepted are burdens on us that enslave our capacities. And when we address this psychological need, we're doing a greater service for the liberation of our people than those people that are just addressing the surface needs of our people. The proof of it is, I can prove, if a survey is taken anytime, I can prove that those people that buy my approach are more successful in every respect than those that buy the other approach. This can be proven. We don't have the visibility for a national office, for a central shop that we used to have under the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We don't have it. That's not our thing anymore. But we have more successful people in business today than we ever had before. We have more material wealth than we ever had before. Not in our national office, no. It's in our national membership. And that's where it's supposed to be, if we're good and fair people. Now, I'm going to touch your sensitive buttons. It's necessary. I went to have some work done on my mouth. The first thing the guy did was touch a sensitive button. He said, "You want me to continue?" I said, "You got to." Now, you know, we're off again when it comes to rights. The wrong approach to our rights can oppress us more. The right approach to our rights can benefit us. We just find, well, we have the right to do this, we have the right to do that. And with the Republicans, we've been hearing more and more a whisper in our ear. What about your Constitution? They're gradually reaching us. I think they got problems too, though, you know. They hurting us too. And I sure hope they do something about relieving the burden, unfair, unjust burden on the middle class people. On the middle class people. Middle income people in this country. Because it's not fair at all for the rich to share less of the burden than the middle income people. That's not right. That has to be changed. So I support that and look for a change soon. So my income is going up. But my condition is not. We have rights, that's true. But our rights, and just a simple and plain way of stating, is the rights to fairness. The society is supposed to be fair. And that's the way I think of my rights. My rights is the rights to fairness. Are you treating me like you treat others? You know? Are you singling me out for mistreatment? Are you treating me like you treat others? That's all I want, just rights to fairness. I don't want it. Some of us think we're supposed to have the rights to equal benefits. That's wrong. It sounds pretty, doesn't it? You know, that's how some demagogues can come up and just lead us and get established on our dumb following, our dumb response to them. You know, they just go and make it on us because of our ignorance. Yeah, I can see one starting a campaign. We insist upon equal benefits. Sounds pretty. Sounds good. Sounds like it's right, but it's wrong. You can't have equal benefits in your house. You can do all you can to treat those children the same and to give them the same, but you cannot have equal benefits for those children. One child will benefit more. One child will excel, the other will be behind. Right? You ain't going to have equal benefits in your family. So how can we tell society we demand equal benefits? The society has used our weakness. When I say society, I mean the trends that we have allowed to grow in the society and take over and dominate. The bad trends have allowed, at least the society has conditioned us to expect too much and to not to be sensible or realistic. So if we look on TV and we see somebody walking on a rug and the rug is so thick it's covering half the shoe, we want a carpet like that. We just got to have a carpet like that, you know? We see somebody walk in the door and the television come on. You know, we got to have it too, so we walk in the door and the television come on. You know? Then we're going to fuss because the channel we wanted didn't come on. Yeah, so we want all that, you know. If we see somebody riding in a car with 16 wheels and a shower in it, you know, a tennis court and all that, we got to have that. We'll make a demonstration. We envy the rich.
Right.
We have class discrimination where the poor discriminate against class. Not just the upper class discriminate against the under, but we have the lower class discriminate against the upper class. I reject him because he's rich. I reject him because he's a PhD. Yeah, we got people who reject you because you are learned.
That's right.
Reject you because you are a material achiever. They reject you, they hate you. And will punish another one of their circle because they befriend you.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
I'm talking about what I experienced, what I know. Will punish another person just for befriending you. They hate you because you achieved, and they didn't. This is We are that way because we are ignorant. We don't understand. Somebody has sold us wrong ideas. You're not supposed to be rich because one person's rich, everybody's supposed to be rich. Everybody always been different, you know. Each person has been individual ever since time began. And there's always been these distinctions of achievement ever since time began. It's going to stay that way forever. Always there's going to be a few people achieving something that the majority can't achieve. It's been that way. It's going to be that way forever. What is the beauty in this? What is God's justice in this? If God made a family that didn't need each other, the children come up, they don't need parents. You know, some animals, they come right in the world and they can make it just like this. They go out on their own just after a few hours. They can make it on their own. In fact, there are animals that can make it on their own from the time they come from the womb. They come out in the world right away on their own. The parent has nothing else to do. God could have made us like that. He wanted us to be special, obviously. He wanted us to be caring, more caring. He wanted us to be more responsible. He wanted us to have more responsibility. He wanted us to earn more credits. If everybody had the same thing, if all of us are equal, where is there room for any of us to earn credit? For anything. But if many of us can't achieve what the few can achieve, then there's opportunity for the few to serve the many. An opportunity for the many to appreciate the few. And in appreciating the few, their benefit. Some of us don't know. Sometimes to say thank you is more rewarding to the soul than saying take this. Yeah. I've experienced both. And I hope I'll keep experiencing both. I say, take this, you know. I feel good. I give you that. You know, you need it, you know. But I also want to say thank you. I need that in my soul too. So we need achievers. We need to benefit from somebody. And God is the greatest benefactor. And if you understand it as a Muslim, you will never think you're beneath a person because they're above you. Because God is above them. And they couldn't have gone anywhere without your God. Yes. And that situation is a blessing from God. And a mercy from God. And your situation too, no matter how much you might not appreciate it, your situation too is a blessing from God and a mercy from God. Many times the poor are blessed with things, with values, as you know. You've heard the great philosophers talk on these things. They're blessed with values that many of the rich will never have. They're given joys from Allah that many of the rich will never experience. Some of the rich, they envy the poor for the joys that they can experience that are not available or not permissible to the rich. So don't think that there is a real equality in a total sense. God allows equality in certain aspects or certain areas of our life. But when you look at the whole thing, God has equality. Yes, He does. There's equality of reward and punishment. That's the equality. No matter how fortunate you think you are, if you deserve punishment bad, you're going to get it. Sooner or later, you're going to get it. And no matter how poor your situation is, God can bring rewards into your life, and you will enjoy a sense of happiness and well-being that others perhaps that have much more than you physically or materially can enjoy. So that's the equality of God's justice. The amount of enjoyment that we have is not determined by what kind of benefit comes to us. It's not. I can only be happy if I have more money. God sometimes will let you get more money to show you that you were wrong. You get more money and you still ain't happy. The more money I make, the sadder I get. Yeah, that's what happens for some people. They think more money is going to make them happy. The more money they get, the more miserable they get. Doesn't work that way. So let us not envy each other. All religions tell us do not envy each other. One of the major crime sins is to be jealous or be envious of a person. Greed is another major sin. So we say, Allah says to us in the Quran, stay away from the major wrong. Isn't that what he said? Because, you know, if we get the nitpicking and busting our brains trying to find out, you know, every look. What did I lie? How many times I lied today? No, just look at the major thing. Just look at yourself and take one look at the mirror. Just let somebody take one look at you. Say, what did you see? I saw a greedy nigga. Get rid of that greed. You don't have to look that way. You don't have to be sure like Holmes with that big laugh. Looking for the crime. No, you don't have to do that. Just take one look and see what you see. And deal with those major problems and you'll be all right. Lastly, in this address is a focus on the role of concepts for the purpose of stressing Muslim life and our obligation to build respect for intelligence. Intelligence. I think this is the greatest need we have now in the Muslim life. We have to build a respect for Muslims as being an intelligent people. Our religion, in my understanding, based upon my inquiry, our religion is a religion that stresses the value of intelligence and respect for intelligence and the exercise of intelligence more than any religion that I'm aware of. It began with man being created as an intellect. As an intellect. That's the beginning of our creation. God created the intellect. Some of us would like to say God created a heart, you know. No, God created an intellect. All animals have hearts. And we have no superiority when it comes to heart. We don't. Animals will sacrifice their life for each other. Yes. Animals have unimaginable courage when they're young and ready. So we don't have any more heart. I don't think you have more heart. I know many of us have experienced this, but I wouldn't bother the bird's nest. I just happened to pass near it. The bird had put a nest somewhere that was low, you know. I guess something happened. Maybe the bird nest might have fallen and it had to build it on the low level. So I was in this wooded area and I passed by this nest and that bird came out after me, and I'm telling you, that big bird looked like a giant. That little bird made itself look like a giant. And you see something that you've been used to seeing run from you, now it's coming at you, I mean, it means business. It makes itself look like a giant. So don't think that's where it is for us. And I think that's where this society went wrong. Freedom, the idea of freedom that we have in this country, it leads us to extremes that become regressive, that become very regressive. So the society reaches a certain point in pursuing freedom where it becomes regressive for them. No more progressive, but regressive. And that's what we have done in this history of America. We reached the point of our pursuit of freedom where our freedom has become regressive. And we can't survive with that kind of idea of freedom. So we have to understand then that we have to see and appreciate the human concept as the creation of an intelligent creature responsible for his behavior, her behavior. You know, they don't say, well, you're responsible for your behavior. Have you been given a heart? No, you can have a heart, but if your thinking is wrong. The heart is everywhere. The thinking that makes the difference. When we're intelligent and respect intelligent behavior, we'll have a better situation for ourselves. The management of obligation and circumstance. Favorable, and unfavorable. For this particular point in this address, I want us to look at the early life of the Muslims under the leadership of the Prophet himself, peace and blessings be on him. persecution started right then. Right then. Didn't wait. They started right then to persecute him. Those that embraced it or accepted him, they persecuted them. The prophet during the first wave of this persecution, he sent an envoy, delegation, to a Christian country to seek help.
Right.
Nearby Ethiopia, that's in Africa. A lot of us don't know that Arabia is so close to Africa. At one point, you can just step out of Arabia right into Africa. The Red Sea separates, The Red Sea separates the two land masses. And some people have suggested, students of geology and geography, they have suggested that really these two land masses belong together. That actually Arabia belongs to the continent of Africa. And when you look at it, it joins the continent of Africa. It's not separated from the continent of Africa. It joins the continent of Africa. And most of the peninsula is separated along the African coastline by the Red Sea, if I'm correct. I'm thinking sometimes I know what, but my thoughts are just not happen to be not concentrated there, so I may say something wrong sometimes. That I know, but I may say something wrong because those things are not in my notes. That's why I don't believe in preaching or speaking without notes. I'm trying to get where I won't do that because it's dangerous. You make mistakes. Yes. So the landmass sometimes thought of being the same. The prophet sent this group of this delegation to Ethiopia, which was called Abyssinia at that time, and the Arabs called it the Habashi land. And they were sent to the ruler himself of Ethiopia to plead the case of the persecuted Muslims. One person without any school or anything, all of his education had come from the prophet's teachings and the Quran. He led the delegation representing the persecuted Muslims and impressed the ruler so much by quoting the verses of scripture from Quran that the Christian leader was familiar with, because he knew the story as it's given in the Bible of the Blessed Mary, etc., and the birth of the prophet Jesus, the Messiah, Jesus, peace be upon him, and his mother, peace be upon his mother. So the ruler was so impressed that his heart went out to this delegation. And the Meccans, who were described as Jahiliyyah, means dark age thinkers or idolaters, they pursued them to catch them. And when they arrived in Ethiopia at the court of the ruler, they demanded that the ruler return those Meccans to them so that they would take them back to Mecca. The ruler refused. So this is the first alliance, or kind of a political relationship that was established for the community of the prophet with another nation outside of us. First, it was with a Christian authority, and with a Christian nation. And haven was given to them, security was given to them, they were protected. The ruler refused to turn them over. Now, I won't go beyond that to tell you more about the story. I think that's enough. I'm only saying what's needed for this address, or what points I want to make about me in this address. When we were persecuted as Muslims in the beginning of this religious community under our prophet, the prayers of Ethiopia, we found rescue and protection in a Christian nation of Africa. And by the hand of the judgment or authority of a Christian individual or Christian ruler. We shouldn't forget that. Now, I'm addressing the management of obligations and circumstances. Now, we have obligations as Muslims to live our Muslim life. And some of us say, well, look at the circumstances. What can we do? The circumstances won't allow us. I can't get off from work to pray. My job, my boss won't let me stop and observe the times of prayer. And I can't have no halal food, no halal meat. I don't have any halal store I can go to. So we have all these adverse circumstances. And some of them say, well, I'm not going to support any plan to invest in property in this city. These Christians or this government ain't going to let us progress. They're not going to let us establish ourselves here. We're pessimistic. We don't believe in the future. So I'm saying this in hopes to counter some of that. Our obligation is to believe in Allah and to have faith that Allah will make a way for us. And we are obligated to use whatever the prophet used in his day and time. He used faith in another religious people. Why can't we do the same and not be called traitors? He used diplomacy. Those that represented him were diplomats. They used skillful diplomacy. He didn't go in there and read a chapter on the doom. He could have went there and recited to the ruler some chapters on the hellfire to try to frighten the ruler into giving them some aid or rescue. He could have done that. He didn't do that. He used intelligence. He used diplomacy. He gave the ruler what he knew the ruler should appreciate if he was an intelligent and sensitive ruler. And he was successful. Tell me what's wrong with us using that same intelligence, using that same good diplomacy to get ourselves in a better situation in America that's predominantly Christian. That's my teaching. You want to know who W.D. Mohammed is? That's W.D. Mohammed. I believe in using good sense, following the prophet, using good sense, and not being bullheaded, and not being arrogant, and not being so black that you can't see any other color. That's me. You don't have to like that. That's my habit. And I want to share it with everybody that wants it. Those that don't want it, I want to get the hell away from it. Now, some of them will call you a coward if you run from danger. You think the prophet didn't run from some danger? You're crazy. Oh, we ain't supposed to run from them. Fight it. We're supposed to fight it. We ain't supposed to let the devil take nothing out of us. And he took it through the courts, and the lawyers exhausted all the funds. So what should we do? Declare war on the court? Silly-headed people. No, you do the best you can. You trust God. Use what He's given you. Do the best you can. And many times you'll be alone doing it. I'm telling you. And those people that will do nothing, won't go with you, won't help you, they'll be the first to point to your failures when you stand in line and can't go no further. They're the first ones to point to you and say, you the one did that, he lost that, he failed. And they were the ones that didn't go with you when you were trying to save things for them. I'm speaking from first-hand knowledge and experience. So don't think that it makes us look like cowards if we back away from some danger. Look, if we're in this town and we see we're going to run into a lot of dangers, if we pursue a certain direction, intelligence tells us, look for other directions that may take more time. Have patience. Allah said have patience. A great virtue of Muslim is patience. Now this doesn't mean that we accept injustice, accept wrong, and approve of people mistreating us. No, we don't approve of that at all. We'll never approve of that. But it means that we are faced with circumstances that we cannot overcome. We have to have patience and wait for God to open another way. Have patience. So if we can't arrive at the destination by going this route, because there is strong opposition and great danger, we're supposed to look for alternative routes. This is intelligence, Muslim intelligence. The prophet did it. He couldn't succeed in Mecca, so he went to Medina. He didn't say, Medina is my home, I ain't leaving this city. God sent me. And I'm the messenger of God. Ain't no authority over God. And I'm his messenger. And this is my hometown. You Mexicans ain't gonna make me leave my hometown. The prophet left his hometown because it was too hostile, too unfriendly. Persecuted him, boycotted him and his people. He left there and went to Medina. And what does God tell us? This earth is spacious. Yes. When judgment comes and you tell God, I couldn't succeed, God, because these people here persecuted me. God is going to tell you, did not you know my earth was spacious? Listen, I'm giving you a rhyme. God will say, did not you know my earth is spacious? So we have in our options, the option to flee from persecution and seek a better situation. And believe me, we have to study this. You leaders, you have to study this to find out what areas of the United States offer us more promise. Why should we stay in an area that's persecuting us, that hates us, and we have other areas to go to? We are migrants by history. Well, if we migrated from the South, because it wouldn't tolerate us to treat us, tolerate justice to us. So, what's wrong with Muslims not migrating to a better situation for Muslims? So study the United States and find where there's better treatment for Muslims and live there. Why should we give a state our money? Because Muslims believe in work. We believe in honest work. We are good citizens. Most of us will become stable units in a society. Stable units. We will carry our part of the weight. So why should we contribute to the tax base of a town that persecutes Muslims? If that town really has that posture, we should tell them, hell, we're glad to leave you. Yeah, that's goodbye. Say, this is a friendly exodus. I'm serious, I'm very serious. Well, what about jihad? Yes, we are obligated to wage jihad. However, this jihad for us is important to be seen in two particular aspects. One aspect of jihad is your private jihad. And private jihad to get rid of the adversity in the way of your being a good Muslim. That's in your own person, in your personal self, in your own mind, your heart, your spirit. That's the big jihad. So you have that responsibility to fight the bad influences that are in yourself. And if we do that, the jihad proper will not be so difficult. The reason why we have to make jihad in so many parts of the world, Muslims I mean, is because we are failing on that private jihad. If we work on the private jihad, the outer world, the society, will not be so adverse. They will appreciate Muslims. The Muslim is the ideal human person. The Muslim is the model of human excellence. If he lives up to his religion, he is the model of human excellence. He's not irrational. He's not a fanatic. The Muslim is a rational, sober, healthy contribution to any society if he lives up to what's required of him in the Quran and in the life of the Prophet, the prayers and the peace be on him. Yes. So we should concentrate first on that jihad to conquer our own adversity so that our life is compatible with our religion. Stop wanting to be a vandal at home. Stop wanting to be a wastemaker at home. Stop wanting to be a liar at home, a cheater at home, a thief at home, an abuser at home. Stop wanting to be wrong at home. Make it your purpose to be a right person in your house, in your apartment, in your room, wherever you are, privately. Right. And I believe you will make a big step toward liberating the Muslim society in the whole world. Yes, that's the answer. If we make the individual jihad to conquer adversity in our own self, we will be making the greatest contribution to making a place and acceptance for us in the broad society of the world. Whether it's Christian, communist, Jew, or whatever it is, Buddhist, we will have a much greater chance in this world if we live up to what is expected of us as Muslims based upon the authority of Quran and the life of our Prophet. It's as simple as that. The bear. Do you think I'm a coward? No. I don't see myself as no coward. I fear Allah. I've never, since I've known the fear of Allah, I've never feared anything above Allah. I don't fear. If it's necessary, I will join an army and fight physically, if it's necessary. If it's necessary, I know that I can lead an army. And if I lead an army, I believe I'm going to be big. That's the way I feel. That's right. You try to get out of the temple this long saying something that they don't like.
That's right.
God better be on your side.
That's right.